Welcome to Destination Safari's Wild Earth travel show that showcases luxury safari lodges, their history, conservation efforts, wildlife experiences, stunning locations, and so much more. Beautiful Hillsnek Safari Camp is an intimate family-run lodge nestled here on the banks of the Bushmans River. This week we'll explore this intimate camp engulfed in stunning views of Amakhala Private Game Reserve. It is a great privilege to be sitting with Lorenzo Tomasi, lodge manager here, who will be running through us the Hillsnek journey. Lorenzo, welcome. Thank you for joining us on the show.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Lorenzo, Hillsnek is an intimate family-run lodge with a fascinating history.
Correct, yes.
Can you maybe run through us a little bit of that?
Certainly. It was an intimate family getaway since the year 2003. It was then opened in 2005 as a going concern as Hillsnek Safari Camp, operated and run by the Cook and Nordia families. And ever since then we've been welcoming international guests to our lodge.
And I mean the view, this location.
The view is absolutely stunning. With the 4 tents that we do have, each tent has its own spectacular view of the plains behind me. And guests are always in awe when they're seated on the decks of their tents, just looking at that gorgeous view.
Lorenzo, obviously creating a lodge in an environment like this comes with some challenges. Did you guys experience anything along the way?
We have. When the Bushmans River flooded, we had to then move our guests from Hillsnek Safari Camp to other lodges on the main reserve. It was quite challenging, but thankfully at the time we did manage to relocate our guests. But at the same time, this is the most perfect camp situated above the Bushmans River, and when the Bushmans River is flowing, it is absolutely spectacular. And you can actually hear the river flowing, and it's quite peaceful. Late at night when you're sleeping, you can hear it, and you fall asleep so much more easily. So that is probably our biggest and only challenge that we have.
So turning it from an intimate family home into an ecotourism operation, did you experience anything there?
Not really. It was just the fact that the hiring of local builders to build. At the time, we only had the 3 chalets, or 3 tents, as we call them, tents 1, 2, and 3, and then tent 4 was added a couple of years later in 2014. We are a small, intimate camp. We don't plan to increase the size of the accommodations of the tents, so that at the maximum that we can accommodate is 12 people, which would normally be 8 adults and 4 children.
Hillsnek is situated on the Bushman's River in a topographically diverse area of the Albany Thicket, here in Amakhala Private Game Reserve. Of course, Narenza, obviously there's been some challenges and the process of getting, incorporated into Amakhala. Can you maybe tell us about that?
Yeah, it was the various landowners in this area that got together, took down their fences to form Amakhala Game Reserve, as you see it today, with its acacia trees and thicket, and an absolute haven for our wildlife on this reserve.
And becoming part of an ecotourism destination in this part of the world, in Amakhala, did you guys have to go about any changes, any differences?
Basically doing a lot of marketing to our European markets, the US market, all the different markets, to actually market so that they would actually come and visit this unique part of the Eastern Cape. It is a beautiful game reserve, an hour from Quebec Airport. So many of our guests fly into Quebec Airport, either self-drive or take a transfer to Amakhala Game Reserve. It's exactly an hour from the airport. And this is a beautiful game reserve, especially for first-time safari goers. And a lot of our guests are, in fact, first-time safari goers. And here at Hillsnek Safari Camp, we have many, many return guests.
Well, with views like this, I don't think the marketing is too difficult. And the pool, the elephants in the pool, what can you tell us about that? A possible challenge?
It used to be a challenge in that we constructed our new elephant pool this past May when we closed for renovation. What would happen is the elephants would come quite frequently in the summer months. They would drink directly from the pool, and the pool would be unusable for the next 3 days because we would have to refill, chlorinate, and in the hot summer months our guests would appreciate a dip in the pool. So we constructed this elephant pool, so now the elephants have their own drinking water and our guests can enjoy a dip in the pool.
It's just an extension of the pool itself, and I experienced firsthand myself the elephants coming and drinking in the dirty, muddy trunk, dropping muddy water into the pond there. And what a draw card, Renzo, being able to sit within arm's reach or so, a little bit further. You've obviously got to watch the guests, and then sort of a very close, intimate reach of these massive, gentle giants as they just quench their thirst. What an absolutely amazing experience.
Oh, it most certainly is. I've seen many teary-eyed guests after witnessing that. And I've been here since 2016, and it never, ever fails to amaze me when the elephants come to the pool.
So a challenge that you overcame by just a little bit of extra construction. Well played.
Absolutely, thank you.
And how many tents have you got? I think you mentioned it before.
We have 4 tents. Originally there were 3.
Okay.
And then the 4th tent was added in 2014. So 4 in total.
All with a beautiful, stunning view, looking over Amakhala Reserve, indoor shower, outdoor shower, very nice looking bath, and some of the most comfortable chairs I've sat in, I must admit.
What I like about the tents is all 4 of them have a different view. What I didn't add earlier was that the one tent is a family tent. So it has a main bedroom and then a twin bedroom with a shared bathroom. So it is perfect for families with teenagers, families with young children. They can still have their privacy in their bedroom, but they would need to obviously go through the main room to the bathroom. So it is a great family tent.
So Lorenzo, we're sitting here in probably the main lounge area. Tell us about the main areas that you have here at Hillsnek.
That was one of the reasons why we wanted to do a little bit of a extension. The lodge is still small and intimate, but we've added a few extra touches. This area to the right of us used to be our dining room, and when we renovated earlier this year in May and June, we added a whole new area. So we moved our dining room. We created a new bar area, which is absolutely fantastic to sit at the bar and overlook the plains. We have also added 2 new dining tables. What we normally do at Hillsnek is we have communal dining.
Okay.
So should we have 8 guests, we do put them around one big yellow wood table. But should there be guests that wish to dine separately, they can either do so in their tent or at one of our new copper top tables, so that there is that option available. And of course the bar area is also perfect to sit at, sip a gin and tonic when the elephants come to visit.
And there's also these little lounge chairs just outside by the pool with a view of the pool, a view of the Amakhala Reserve, and the bar within a short stone's throw away.
Absolutely, but you may have a lie down on those lounges and sip a gin and tonic as well. You don't need to sit at the bar. And there's been numerous occasions where I've walked in during the morning after breakfast and guests have gone onto the lounges and they've actually fallen asleep because the bird song, the peacefulness of the place actually just makes you fall asleep.
I can imagine, with scenic views like that, very comfortable lying down material.
Absolutely, yes, yes. I've tried it myself and I could quite easily have a sleep on there.
So the dining is around here, the bar's there, the pool's there. It's quite a nice intimate space, and I suppose that's why putting guests together is helpful. But you can also just put little intimate tables around, so you can have
Yes.
that romantic honeymoon dinner if need be.
Absolutely, it's one of our things that we do for honeymooners is we always offer a private tent dinner on one of the nights. They normally prefer to do that on the last night. And in inclement weather, when there's rain, guests won't be trapped in their tents because there are little seating areas within the lodge, like the one we are seated at now. There's a bigger one and another smaller one too. So there's lots of little areas where people are able to go and sit and still feel as if they're the only guests in the lodge.
Lots of places to relax, and all of them seem to have their own little unique view of that landscape out there, which is quite remarkable.
Yes,
A lot of attention to that detail.
absolutely.
So obviously, Renzo, people come to these destinations not just for the rooms and the comfortable lodge. They come to go out on safari. Now, here at Hillsnek, what activities do you offer? Tell us about the safari experience.
We have the standard twice-a-day game drive. So we have a morning drive. It goes out between 5:30 and 6:30 a.m. depending on the season. Our drives are normally 3 hours in length, maybe a bit longer. The afternoon drive goes out between 3 and 4 p.m. depending on season, also 3 to 4 hours. So you'll have an afternoon drive on your day of arrival, and then of course a morning drive on the day of your departure. And we also offer a night drive, although it's not included in the rate, it is an additional extra, but we do offer those, and those we would normally do after dinner. It wouldn't be as long as 3 hours, but maybe up to 2 hours. This is an excellent opportunity to view night animals.
Yes.
A few guests have been and they've really, really enjoyed. A further activity is horseback safaris in conjunction with one of our neighbours on the reserve, but it does need to be pre-booked, but that is an option, and it's normally done from about 10 a.m. in the morning.
Wonderful experience getting out on foot and on horseback.
Yes, and of course the horseback trail is also in a non-Big Five area. The final extra is for those that are adventurous, is to do an actual Big Five walk in the Big Five area. That also needs to be pre-booked, and it's a wonderful experience. It's about 3 hours long, and I can highly recommend doing that.
Yeah, I'm a trails guide. I walk for a living for the most part. Getting out on foot in the Big Five area is just, it is medicine for the soul.
Absolutely. And of course we do have guests that want to stargaze, so we do offer that at no additional cost. We would either do it directly here at the lodge, or we would drive them out to one of the areas on the reserve, up on the mountain, for them to do some stargazing. So there is that available as well.
Lots to keep the guests busy.
Yes.
So it won't just
Absolutely.
be sitting in the rooms or watching the elephants drink. There's lots to keep you busy and to work off the fine cuisine that Hillsnek Safari Camp would provide. So now, Renzo, tell us, do your guests expect a chop on the braai barbecue or haute cuisine? And if so, what do you provide here? What's your special recipes? Any flavors that Hillsnek likes to impress their guests with?
I would most definitely say haute cuisine. We have a kitchen team that oozes with culinary skills. Two of our chefs have been with us for 20 years. They didn't start off as chefs, they were housekeepers, but they are part of the family. They are part of the furniture. And our third chef too was a housekeeper to start. She's been with us for about 9 years or so. Our favorite, I would say my favorite dish, which I think a lot of the guests enjoy too, is our ostrich dish. It's a 200-gram ostrich fillet, stuffed with prunes, wrapped in bacon, and drizzled with a balsamic reduction, as well as our kudu. We do serve venison every couple of nights. That seems to be the go-to. I think especially with guests from Europe and the USA, Australia, they don't necessarily always have the kudu. But we also make all our own breads here, so the bread you have at breakfast, at dinner, is all home baked. Our rusks, our muffins, everything that you have here to eat is made right here in the Hillsnek kitchen. It is a culinary experience beyond belief. I can say that myself.
So now, Renzo, obviously this is a small, intimate camp. Is there any advantage as well of having a 12-bed accommodation here in the reserve?
Absolutely. So we are perfect for a full buyout or exclusive use for families and friends. We have quite a few. We had a large group in April that stayed with us for 6 nights in all 4 tents, and they have now rebooked to come next April, but over 2 periods of 5-night stays. So yes, that is a possibility.
That is a really big benefit.
Yeah, absolutely. It will be like having your own castle in the bush.
So now, Renzo, conservation plays a huge role in the safari industry. Can you tell us about your collaboration and efforts with Chip and Bear Rhino Foundation and Masterton's tea and coffee specialists?
Chip and Bear Rhino Foundation was formed in 2010 by the co-owners of Hillsnek Safari Camp, Brent and Chantal Cook. This was after the savage poaching of 2 Amakhala rhinos on Amakhala Game Reserve. So we formed Chip and Bear Rhino Foundation, Chip and Bear meaning white rhino in Shona. So we have our Chip and Bear Rhino blend, which we have here at Hillsnek Safari Camp. So all your coffee is this particular one, and it is for sale at our courier shop. And a portion of all sales made of this particular coffee brand is donated to the Chip and Bear Rhino Foundation.
Fantastic. We've just been drinking it now. It's definitely a very nice brew. I think, yeah, we've had a few
sure
cups
is.
today. It is a remarkable blend of fantastic coffee, and it's nice to know that every sip or bag is going somewhere. You know, conservation, there's some effort going back, so that's nice
Yes,
to hear.
absolutely, absolutely.
So Renzo, Eastern Cape is not traditionally a safari destination. What sets Hillsnek apart and this part of the world from other options that guests might decide to look at?
I think it being the fact that we are the perfect destination for anyone traveling down the garden route. It is perfect for the last 2 or 3 nights of your stay in the country. So you arrive in Cape Town, travel down the garden route and end off with a safari. And being only an hour from the airport in Quebec, it's perfect to just drive through or get a transfer, spend your 2 or 3 nights, your last 2 or 3 nights in the country on this spectacular reserve that I love to call my home, Amakhala Game Reserve.
And I mean, being an hour from PE, guests can drive from Cape Town, PE. It's quite a quick trip if you're doing the Cape, and then you can add the safari on, which I think when you want to do Cape Town and the Kruger, for example, it's a very big distance, but also malaria free.
Absolutely malaria free, which is a big positive. And also for those that have never been on safari before, Amakhala Game Reserve is the perfect first time safari goers destination.
Renzo, it has been amazing chatting to you. Thank you for sharing your time. It's clear to see that this lodge and this reserve is so close to your heart.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Anyone wanting to find out more about Hillsnek Safari Camp, just head on over to the website. It would be amazing to bump into you wandering in the hills of Amakhala one day. But this week from Destination Safaris, thank you very much for joining us, and goodbye.